here's the video review for the Microlegion Series 1 SKYSNAKE and Heavy Metal from Shapeshift Incorporated. These are their little Legends class, smaller class figures from War for Cybertron, Fall of Cybertron. They've shown off a possible Bruticus and a couple other figures down the line. These are the first two out. They come in a cool little box here. Let me see if I can actually lift this up. Just leave that in the background. With some neat art on the front and little pictures of them and their alt modes in the back. Inside that's just a plastic clamshell with the two figures and an instruction sheet. And you get the two figures and their weapons. Starscream comes with a rifle and a clip, and Ironhide comes with two cannons, very similar to his cannons from the movies. So yeah, they're just little things. They don't have a whole lot of articulation here in alt mode. Ironhide's wheels do roll, or Heavy Metal's right, and SKYSNAKE. And just as a quick size comparison, here is Ironhide or Heavy Metal with DX9's Gartanel there in alt mode. I was going to grab my official Legends Starscream, and I totally forgot it. I did bring all my DX9 stuff, so just to give you an idea of how big he is, there is Fall of Cybertron Starscream with the DX9's Tempest. Just to give you an idea about how big they are. They do have ports on them. So if you wanted to give Starscream the rifle, there's a couple ports here on the wings. If you wanted to give him some long wing guns, if you had a couple sets. There's also a port under here, so you can arm him like that. And Ironhide has available to him. He's got ports on the side of his weapon, of his vehicle mode here, that the smaller part of his peg fits in. So if you want to give him two giant cannons on either side of him, you can do so. It's just a rolling pair of guns there. Also, there's a bigger port on top, and you can plug this in. You can plug a weapon in up there as well. The weapons don't... I thought maybe this peg on the back would fit in here, and they would peg together. And it's enough there if you don't touch it, but it falls right out. But there is a hole on either side. I guess as more figures come out, some of the weapons might be able to combine, but if you want to have a double gun, you can do so. Just like that. Now, these are test samples. These are not the final finished product, so you'll see a little bit of paint wear on the paint right around here. That shouldn't be present on the final versions. These are all very early. Not early. These are like near the end of the game test shots, but these are not the finalized product, so just be aware of that. So yeah, transforming them, again, since they're small, they're not super complex transformations. For Heavy Metal, you just want to pull, kind of split the front of the car, pop his arms out, and then fold his pieces down and around to form his legs. Flip the feet up, rotate the tires. This whole little wheel well assembly rotates down. You can leave it up. It comes packaged with that folded up, but you're supposed to fold those down. Bring the shoulders down. Bring the shoulder pads down, lift his head up, and there you go. Unpeg his legs. There he is. Pretty cool. And again, he can hold his cannons in his hand. Those ports on the side are now on his arm, so you could put the ports like that. I'd love for there to be a port like right here, or an extra piece that could plug in here, and have him attach his cannons like this to his arms. But well, so you can have them in two different configurations there. And of course, you can use that port and store one on his back if you want as well. Stand him up. There we go. And for SKYSNAKE, very similar transformation to how the official deluxe toy transforms. Unpeg the arms off of here. Bring the whole leg assembly, the leg assembly pegs into the back here. This whole piece rotates down. I'll make sure this, again, there's two hinges here. There's this hinge and this hinge. So you want to fold this down, then fold this all the way down around, and this tab right here will tab into the back here. Just like that. Turn his head around. Actually, it might help to turn his head around during this process. And then, let me bring this down here. Nope, that has to tab it up here. And then bring the arms forward. The wings are independent of the arms. They'll move with the arms. They're on the same pin, but they are separate pieces, so you can fold the wings back if you want at any angle. Flip out the fists. Now, because of this hinge, there's no wrist swivel, but we'll cover articulation here in just a moment. And so there he is. He can stand up. And he comes with, like I said, the sniper rifle. And then there's a clip on this. And what's cool is the clip can go in either side. It's got some pink bullets on it. Those colors might change on the final, but the clip pegs into either side of the gun, depending on which hand you've got him holding it in. And again, it's got a peg here. He's got some upper arm pegs. It's a little long for his typical null ray, but he can peg in up there. The peg behind the nose is lost. It's folded up inside the body, but he can also, again, hold the weapon in his hands, of course. And he's got a peg over here on this arm as well. So there they are. Articulation is pretty decent. They have ball joint heads. Starscream's is a little difficult to move because of the pylons here on his shoulders or his collarbones, but it is on a ball joint. You can move it. The arms have some hinges out this way, ball joint shoulders, ball joint elbows. Again, there's no wrist swivel, but there is that hinge there for transformation. He does not have a waist swivel, but he does have ball joint hips, ball joint knees, and then even his ankle down here is on a ball joint, so this piece below the ankle can rotate and move. And while it's limited a little bit by the way the shape of the cut, it does actually give him quite a bit of stability and range of motion there in that ankle joint, which is nice. So you can get him in some pretty crazy stances and actually still support him very well. Ironhide, he's got a ball jointed head as well. The shoulder pads flip up partially to allow for transformation and for posing. Apparently some of the early test shots had these were really floppy. They seem pretty secure on mine, and I know that is an issue they're going to make sure is not a problem when they ship the product. So you shouldn't have to worry about any floppy shoulder pads again. Mine seem to be just fine. But he's got a ball joint right in here at the shoulder. He's got a ball joint at the elbow. He does have a waist swivel. Again, his hands are all one solid piece, so there's no wrist swivel there. He's got ball joint hips, ball joint knees, and he does not have a ball joint in the ankle. He just has a hinge there. But again, the hinge comes down a little bit past flat, so you can get him in some leaning forward poses or walking forward poses. It's not quite as extreme as what you can get out of SKYSNAKE, but it is there. And of course, size comparisons. We'll get him, show them off with some of the other smaller figures in the scale. And since we already had him out earlier, here's Heavy Metal with DX9's Gartano, since we're homaging the same character. A little bigger, a little beefier, but that kind of describes a lot of the War for Cybertron designs. And again, here's SKYSNAKE with DX9's Tempest. So they already fit in pretty well with the scale that DX9 has been putting their figures in. Here they are with those two. Here's Blur, DX9 Speedo, and of course Ratchet, which is the same mold as Gartano. With DX9's Galvatron and Scourge. And like I said, they fit in with a lot of the other lines that are doing this scale, which is nice. They're a little shinier. Like I said, a slightly different design aesthetic because they're one, different company, and two, from a different, kind of universe. Here they are with Iron Factory's Ultra Magnus, their City Commander, and their Maiden. Just to give you an idea of how they scale there. Here they are with Sentinel's Optimus Prime Pen. Again, I think that's a really good scale between these two. Actually, even Starscream, which is pretty cool. And then just for the heck of it, since I wanted to play with him anyway, didn't really affect him so much. I guess there you are with a War for Cybertron Deluxe. But there's SKYSNAKE with the official deluxe version of him. And he looks really good. Again, the transformation is very similar between these two. So it's kind of a mini deluxe there. But yeah, a nice start to Shapeshift Incorporated's line. And again, like I said, I know they've teased a few other characters. I know a War for Cybertron or a Fall of Cybertron Bruticus was one of them, and I can't remember who the others were, but they had a couple more sets that I know they've been discussing doing. So so keep an eye out. These are actually pretty cool. I know they'll be hitting TF Source soon. I think they're about ready to go, and yeah, again, I'm really digging this smaller scale of figures because it lets me put a whole lot more on my shelf, and the quality is there. So it's not like going in a store and buying, you know, one of the $5 Legends figures that are small but very basic. There's a lot of neat engineering on some of these guys, and they're doing a lot of characters that we're not seeing in. Well, I guess actually all these characters have been on the main line recently, haven't they? At least since Classics. But still, they're doing some good renditions of these figures. All of these companies are. This, like I said, this one is Shapeshifts, and if you're into that Fall of Cybertron aesthetic, I do recommend these. These are nice little figures.